Happy 4th of July. Well, we are so glad to see so many people coming into the six screens already. Now, on a holiday weekend or a holiday itself, generally we get a whole lot of people coming in. And I always wondered, why is that? Why do we always seem to do better when there's a holiday? Well, the reason is many of us ex Jehovah's Witnesses, we really can't get into that holiday spirit. I don't know what it is. I think it's from all of that residual leftover from the Watchtower, but it's so hard to really get in the groove, so to speak. But that's why I think we get a lot more people coming in on the holiday weekends. So if you're out there with us, thank you for wanting to spend some time with us on this 4th of July. We really appreciate your presence. And we got a couple of programs, three programs actually, coming up tonight here in the six screens. We got Dick, Constance, and Joe. Well, they are all former Jehovah's Witnesses, and they are exposing the Watchtower organization. So we're looking forward to their program that's going to be up here momentarily. We'll bring them on. And so we'll be interested to see what they're going to be talking about tonight. So let's add them to the stage right now. And here they are. Hello, Dick, Constance, and Joe.
Hi, everyone.
So you guys, you really, in fact, I'll tell you what, it's hot up here too, Dick. I saw a bear today. He was coming out of the woods shaving his legs.
A bear, huh? Bear legs?
Yeah.
Rick, Connie's got a big question for you.
Sure.
It looks like you're growing a mustache, Rick.
Oh, does it? I think it's just a microphone. All right. I look terrible. Dick can grow a mustache. Joe can, but I tell you what, I look so terrible with facial hair. It's unbelievable. It really, really is. They got to send me to the ugly farm. Really, I just don't look good with a beard. Or I never really tried a beard. I tried a mustache once, but it just wasn't me. But you guys can do it. A lot of guys look good with facial hair right now. It's big. Almost everybody has it, Yeah.
Well,
So what's on
the governing body?
So what's on the agenda tonight?
We're going to talk about this country a little bit and talk about the Watchtower propagating hate to people that are disfellowshipped and into this country. I did want to do a kind of a little bit of a feature on this country. Last Saturday, Anne Marie, she grabbed all my thunder on the Nazis, but I've got a few things she didn't touch on, so I think I want to touch on that. But I'm really hoping the audience will come on in. Love to have a person call in that has never called in before. That would really be great.
That would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then ask the elder question.
Yeah, we have an elder on our couch, Joe Dyer, and 13 to 14 years ago he was an elder, and we're going to have a little segment, Ask an Elder. But as Joe pointed out to me today, that the Shepherd the Flock book has changed dramatically in the last 12 or 13 years. So what he might be telling you might not be current. I know Fern did a really good on his program, going through every single chapter in the Shepherd the Flock book.
Yeah.
And it's really dramatic. One thing that I picked up on is that.
Hey, Dick, before you get into that, I just want to make one announcement and I'll cut you guys loose. Yeah, I just want to say that, now listen, if you want to come in tonight to the program here with Dick and Constance and Joe, the telephone number is scrolling across the bottom. And also, if you want to come in on video or just audio from anywhere in the world, really, go to the YouTube description box, and there's a link in there, and you can hit the link, and that'll bring you on, so you come on live tonight on this program. So I just wanted to mention that. And also, I just want to mention, too, that if, I'll mention it during my program, but I'll cut you guys loose. I'm here if you need me.
Very good, Rick.
Thank you,
Thank you so much. Friends, this Watchtower is really something. They will complain about the United States and all the governments in the world, how evil they are. They're all controlled by Satan, the devil. They're bad. You shouldn't have any political affiliations. You shouldn't even be watching the news. Just concentrate on, JW World News. That's Rick programs, but the program that the Watchtower puts out there. They just want you to lock into that. They will have you believe that everybody in government is corrupt, and that if you have any involvement at all with the government or anything like that, that Jehovah will be displeased with you. Well, certainly not true, but that's what they put out there. It's ironic that they can be knocking the government, and still they're after the government's money. They want every tax break they can get. They want all kind of freebies. And Jehovah's Witnesses themselves, I mean, they don't mind taking food stamps from the federal government, fuel assistance,
Section 8 housing,
Section 8 housing, all that stuff. They don't mind doing that.
Medi-Cal.
But they'll Medi-Cal, but they will turn around and just blast the government and all the people in it. It's ironic how they want all the money they can get from Norway. I guess they won the case up there in Norway, so they're going to get a bunch of money. But nobody in the rank and file is going to see that money. We just watched the John Ledger video about 2 hours ago. I think it was John Ledger's video about a man that spent 45 years.
Oh, it's not John Ledger. No.
It's not John
It
Ledger.
was, what was it, Wisdom?
Kingdom Wisdom.
Yeah, Kingdom Wisdom.
Kingdom Wisdom. Thank
Right.
you.
It's a
Kingdom
YouTube
Wisdom.
channel.
45 years. This guy, as soon as he left high school, he went to Bethel. He was a smart kid. He went to Bethel. 45 years there, and he was getting old. He was getting decrepit. He worked his backside off for the Watchtower. They call him in on a Tuesday morning, as he alludes to, and says, we're downsizing and we don't need your services anymore. We'll give you a bus fare and you get 30 days to get out of here. He had very little Social Security. I think in the video, he worked for his uncle in a hardware store for maybe a year or two. Part-time.
Before he started.
So he got some money from Social Security, about $30, which that won't even buy you a Happy Meal at McDonald's anymore, And he's just so bitter and hurt.
He's 73 now.
73 now.
And his wife's 71.
Yep, and he's working a job that's physically demanding. And it's hard to get a job when you're in your 60s. It's hard to get a job when you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
But this guy's in his 60s, 70s. He's in his 70s.
He's 73. And the wife works for a charity, like a thrift shop, right?
Sure. They live in a one-bedroom.
And they're struggling just to pay the rent.
And he was saying that one of his best friends in high school he went pioneering with decided to go to college. Now this guy's got a beautiful home, nice cars, grandchildren, a nice fat income every month. And here he is, living in a one-bedroom. He's got to walk up 4 flights of stairs to get there. It's all he can afford.
Can you imagine with groceries and all that, Rich?
So does the Watchtower love you? No.
Well, you know what Joe always says, that was that man's paradise, huh?
That's the paradise that he received.
That's the paradise he received. 45 years in Bethel. That's the paradise he received.
My dad, he mentioned he had severe arthritis because of the repetitive work at Bethel. He had severe back pain. His wife had bad knees. And so
his shoulders
they paid
too,
the price.
Remember his shoulders?
Yes.
He said his shoulders were hurting.
Yes.
He said it was very mundane, repetitive work, but they didn't care. They just kept pushing and pushing all the Bethelites.
The Watchtower does not care about you. They don't care about the people that serve them. They just care about their money and their prestige and their perversions. I mean, they're covering up perversion all the time in all the congregations because that's where the pedophiles flock to. If you get caught, no one's going to call the police. Now they do, but 10 years ago, they weren't doing that. they were covering for the pedophiles because a great deal of them are pedophiles. Me and Rick had a really good friend, Mark Palo. He told me once 30 years ago, maybe 40 years ago now, that he was raped at Bethel by a governing body. And I said, sure, Mark, have another beer. But it was true. It was true.
It was Leo Greenleaf's.
Real Greenleaf and Chitty and
Chitty was another one.
yeah, and that brother who put forth the 2-witness rule.
What was his name, Joe? Theodore?
Ted Jarris.
Ted Jarris, yeah.
That's right. Ted
So they've been
Jarris.
covering up pedophilia. They have not millions in bank accounts. They have trillions of dollars in, I guess you call them a hedge fund. And they have them in Northern Ireland. They have 3 different branches of it. And
They're worth about $22 billion.
yeah, and they won't help anybody.
Right.
They won't help anybody.
Especially that couple, Rich, you know, they gave up the opportunity to have children. She really wanted to have children. And then it was too late.
Yep.
She hit her 40s and it was
It was
too
all
late.
over.
Yeah, it was over.
No babies for you.
And Watchtower didn't do anything to help them or anyone else.
I'd like to take a quick break here and thank everybody for the, we just celebrated our 3rd anniversary day before yesterday. Got a lot of cards, a lot of stuff on email and
Facebook. Yeah.
So
That's nice.
as most of the audience know, we met on 6 screens. So we thank Rick for that big time, big time for that, for putting all the energy he has over 20 plus years, lots of money of his own,
A lot of dedication.
a lot of dedication,
helping
time.
other people.
Yeah. So we want to thank everybody who
Thank
who
you.
sent the cards and the well wishes. We're very thankful for that. And I would suggest to people that you can meet people on 6 screens. It has been done. There's been a few marriages because of 6 screens. So you know.
Susan and Rick met.
Yeah, but there you go.
And you married him, Rich.
Oh, that's right. 11, 12 years ago, I think. Yeah.
The audience probably doesn't know that.
One thing that I want to pick up on from when Anne Marie had her program, she's talking about the Nazis and so forth.
Yeah.
The Nazis start slow, and they wanted to bring the people together against somebody. So they picked the Jews. They started a lie, kind of like the Watchtower. The Watchtower's got you believing that Armageddon's right around the corner. And right after that is Paradise Earth, and you're going to be a part of it. They've been selling that story since the 1800s.
Or
you know?
even, honey, the Jews, the Germans, you know, they wanted that Aryan race to be blonde and blue. So they're so elite, right? He wanted a class of people worldwide that were so elite. Well, I see that with Watchtower.
Yeah.
Because a lot of JWs think they're very self-righteous and elite.
Yeah, I kind of felt that way. When I was in the Watchtower, I thought, wow, I'm being blessed with knowledge that people with college degrees don't have. And, you know, I've been blessed because I know what's going to happen. I can protect myself and all this. Well, you know, 1975 came and went. I was married to a good person, but I wasn't in love with her, really, not deeply, not like you should be like what we have here. And it affected my whole life. I mean, I'm nothing compared to that brother that spent 45 years at Bethel. He's kicked out. He's got maybe $20, $30 a month Social Security, and he's ill. And
Well, he gave everything to Watchtower.
He gave everything. He gave everything to Watchtower.
Absolutely everything.
I would have stayed in the Marines for 20 years. Might have gone out for a sergeant major maybe, and I had a pension at 38 years old. You know, but Armageddon was coming. No sense staying in the Marine Corps because if you're in the military and Armageddon comes, you're going to be killed by Jehovah's Angels.
Right. But then, like I've always said to Rich, you know, none of us can foresee the future. So even though you love the regiment,
Mhm.
you know, of the military, like a
Mhm.
lot of people like it with
Right.
Watchtower, all the structure. You know, honey, you don't know. I mean, you might not be alive today. They could have deployed you and you could have gone somewhere else. You might not even be alive today.
Well,
So,
that's semi-true.
you know,
The way I was looking at it in 1971, when
Mhm.
it was time for reenlistment,
Mm.
is the United States, the people in the United States really uh, rebelled against the Vietnam
Oh,
War.
big time.
Okay.
Yes, they did.
So I didn't see this country starting another war anyplace or going to a war anyplace.
Mm,
And I said, well,
that's an interesting thought.
I made
Yeah.
it through boot camp and jungle warfare school and infantry training regiment in the Vietnam War, and I came home. I had my stripes, I had my ribbons, medals. I
Mhm.
had all that, and I was just sitting back and just going to relax and enjoy the training because I like the training.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my sister told me Armageddon's coming,
Yeah.
and the person I studied with said, if all the people in the world were Jehovah's Witnesses, there wouldn't be any wars.
I remember that. Remember
And
that,
I said,
Joe?
oh my,
Remember that line?
Yep.
Excuse me. Yeah. Mhm.
But
Remember that.
of course, then I found out, after I got baptized or when I was getting baptized, that God's people went to war all the time in the Old Testament,
Yeah.
Jericho, and just to name a few.
Well, that was Watchtower's spin
Yeah.
on the Bible because they wanted to be so different from the world. And then
did-
years later, you find out they're part of the United Nations. So how
Yeah.
separate are they really from the world?
Really, really. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, that was one of the things that I learned as a young person studying
Mhm.
was that the United Nations was the counterfeit kingdom of God. It was the harlot. It was the whore. It was the detestable thing. Anybody that has any kind of association with it will be wiped out at Armageddon.
Mhm.
I absolutely believe that.
Mhm.
And what a shock. One day I picked Rick up,
Mhm.
and Rick got my car, and he said, the Watchtower joined the United Nations. And because I didn't know Rick that well then, maybe a year or two.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, Rick, you.
That was hard to believe,
I
wasn't
just,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, very hard to believe.
They would never do because if somebody found out, because they used to say the United Nations
Hmm.
was, the counterfeit kingdom of God. They said it over 4,000 times in their literature.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And if anybody had any kind of association with them, they'd be killed. Here's a governing body member representing the Watchtower Bomb and Track Society
Mhm.
as an NGO. And to be an NGO, you have to say you agree with the principles of the United Nations.
Right. Non-governmental
Yeah.
organization.
Well, when Rick
Right.
first told me that, I went, oh, okay, Rick.
Mhm.
And then I think next time,
He showed you the letter
they showed me the letter
from the
I said,
United Nations.
from the United
He
Nations.
showed it to you.
And then they try to lie. This is what they always do. They call themselves the truth. They're
Excuse me.
nothing but liars. They are professional liars. I firmly believe, strongly believe,
Mhm.
that every one of those governing body members has a demon or demons inside of them.
Mhm.
I absolutely, totally, because they can lie so smoothly,
Mm.
and they make people believe.
Mhm. Mhm.
But they lied and they said, we only joined so we can get a library card. You have to go to Satan's organization to get information. I mean, they were right near Columbia University. They used to go to Columbia University
Right.
all the time. One of
Right.
the best libraries in the world,
Right.
Columbia University,
In New
Ivy
York?
League, big time stuff.
Right.
But they had to go.
They had to go to the United Nations.
They had to go to the United Nations. What a
Remember when they were always, pushing? I mean, when I was in the 70s and 80s, they were always pushing that the United Nations was the seventh world power. Do you remember that?
yeah.
You had Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persian, Greece, Rome, and the United Nations were the seventh. Remember? They kept pushing that over and over.
America and Britain were the Anglo-American.
That's
Dual
right.
world powers.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then the United Nations.
Yep. And they always kept pushing that United Nations, the seventh world power. Yeah. Very interesting.
I just
Another
like-
part of it.
The audience to know something that I'm sure most of them are aware. But shunning is cruel. It's a very, very cruel thing. If you have a real hardened prisoner and he does something bad in prison, they'll put him in solitary confinement for a week or two. You know, that is a very cruel punishment. It's also cruel. I think it's the fifth commandment or the fourth commandment that was given to Moses. It's to honor thy father and mother. Okay. The Watchtower says, well, if we disfellowship your father, which happened to me, you can't talk to him if you're past 18 and not living in the house.
Because you were the father in the household.
That's right. Yeah.
And not only that, Rich,
Mhm.
but then what happened is the elders got in the middle of your marriage.
They-
And the point though that I wanted to make is when you were disfellowship, you were going to the meetings and sitting in the back row.
Mhm.
Excuse me, I got some congestion. Must be allergies. Anyway, and Pam literally took herself and the boys and sat in the very front. She didn't even sit with you in the Kingdom Hall. Remember?
Yeah,
You said that?
that happened a week or two after I was disfellowshipped.
Yeah.
But then she came back to sit with me, and back at the house, we were sleeping together even though I was disfellowshipped. And then I talked to the elders or something. They said I had to sleep downstairs. We had a couch folded into a cot, into a bed. I was doing that. But we were working on the relationship. I was working really hard with her. And next thing I know, she says, we just went to an Anne Murray concert. And we were really doing
Oh, I remember Anne Murray. Remember
Yeah.
her in the 70s?
We were doing well. We
Mhm.
were doing well.
Mhm.
And I thought, you know, well, for the family, and I'll do whatever she wants. She wants to sleep downstairs, I'll sleep downstairs.
That
Okay?
maybe the marriage could be saved.
Then maybe the marriage could be saved.
Mhm.
Then out of the blue, she goes, you're going to have to leave the house. I protested. You got to leave the house. That's all there is to it. She didn't give me any reasons. You got to leave the house. So I left the house, got an apartment down the street. Next thing I know is a book study at my house.
Yeah. And you're paying the mortgage.
Yeah.
Now I have to stop you there, Rich.
Yeah.
I want to ask Joe something.
Mhm.
Okay. Joe was an elder for 12, 13 years, Joe?
Yeah.
13, 14?
Almost 14 years.
Almost 14 years. Okay. So now I had never seen and I had never heard that, Joe, that when you have a couple and one of them's disfellowship, in this case it was Rich's situation, but I've never seen where the wife and the kids sat separately in the Kingdom Hall. Is that something that the elders tell the spouse to do, or what's up with that?
I actually can't really tell you why that happened, but
Okay.
I will tell you
Okay.
how these elders did not follow their own policy.
Okay.
When a man or a woman is unfaithful
Mm-hmm.
and she confesses, now I'm not in the Watchtower anymore,
Right.
but this is the Watchtower rule.
Okay.
When a man or a woman confesses to adultery,
Mm-hmm.
if the innocent mate
Mm-hmm.
chooses
Mm-hmm.
to keep the man or woman who committed adultery in the house,
Mm-hmm.
they're under the roof for one night, that constitutes that she or he forgave the mate. And if anybody wants to add to that, that is gospel to the Shepherd the Flock of God book. I'll give you an example. If I was an unfaithful mate
Mm-hmm.
and I go to my mate and said, I'm so sorry, I made a mistake, I was unfaithful.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say she goes to the elders and they say, well, you're going to have to make a decision. But they should say, if you're not going to forgive him, ask him to leave the house or you leave the house. Because that night, if I decide to stay under the roof, in the congregation's eyes, in the eyes of true elders, that constitutes forgiveness. Does anybody want to add to that,
Oh, I
especially
do. I do.
if you
Joe.
were an elder?
Well, I was never an
So,
elder, but I do.
so actually, Rich, what I'm trying to say is
Excuse me.
your wife constituted forgiveness, but yet the elders got involved.
I thought they have to have sex.
I thought that's what it was too.
No. Do you want to add to this, Matthew? I know you were an elder.
Yeah, Matthew was an
Please.
elder.
I just want to say the congratulations to Connie and Dick. It's also good to be with you, Joe. But I think your journey together, we just hope that it continues with love. I've been looking in the comments there, and persons are resonating with that, and just hoping that you have wisdom, laughter, and peace. So thank you very much for sharing your warmth with all of us. It truly makes the community feel like family. So best wishes from South Africa.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart, because we can't see any of the comments. So thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and Joe, thank you very much. And yes, I took your question, but what strikes me most is the human cost. So I actually have a couple of the elders' books with me there. I don't know if you can see that, but when persons devote decades of their lives in sincere service and later face illness or poverty or isolation without meaningful support, it's absolutely heartbreaking. And we've got that testimony that's just accumulating. So whatever one's beliefs, compassion and practical care for those who have given so much should never be an afterthought. And I really appreciate that you are drawing attention to that, Joe. And to answer your question, yes, if you are spending the night over, that can be counted as forgiveness, because it's an implied or it is implied that you've had relations with the person. In other words, it's sufficient grounds for persons to believe that maybe adultery or fornication has happened in some cases, but specifically with the marriage, that they say, well, if you've stayed there, that means that you have possibly committed an act of forgiveness. You should have actually just not even been there. But I think it's on chapter 6 and chapter 12 of these books. I don't know if you can see them, and there might be a bit of a delay in the stream, I've noticed, but if you happen to have those. And of course, there's the update. We're now getting regular updates on that. But Dick and Connie, without going into too much, you were talking about United Nations. It's actually in print. Actually, if you've still got your year 2000 yearbook, you look at page 14, you can see marked planes with Aid Afrique. It doesn't say United Nations, but Aid Afrique was a Belgian organization that JW was using to kind of distance itself to cooperate with the United Nations, because there was this tax that France was imposing upon the organization. You might recall that.
I do. I saw it on YouTube.
Yeah. So one of the operations was coordinated from Zambia branch, which they had, or they instructed the JW congregants that they wanted to build this to become a printery. Then when they built it, it was huge because it was almost like a backup branch for America in case something happened there. It was massive. It was more than what was needed. They then said, no, we've changed our minds. It's no longer a printery. And they coordinated Aid Afrique from Zambia branch. And so those aeroplanes that you see in the literature, and I don't think that's the only place where you see that, that's your United Nations connection. It wasn't just a library card. That's a PR move by JW. So anybody who actually worked on those containers in Zambia, they were supplying aid throughout Africa and were in competition with Red Cross to get into refugee areas and places like this, because it was believed that JW was a pseudo charitable organization. So they set up the Belgian Aid Afrique to answer that situation in order to deflect from the tax that France was saying, no, listen, you need to pay back. This is what we want. We don't regard you as a legitimate charitable organization.
Interesting. So I'm curious to know, when was the first issue of Shepherding the Flock book? Do you know, Matthew?
That's a very, very good question. Because it used to be, Joe, if I can pick your brain, it wasn't always Shepherding the Flock. It was also it had a different name, and it was a different color. I wonder if this was what it was. Pay attention to yourselves and to the flock. That was the
Yes.
old one. That was the old one, and that didn't change for many years. It was kind of stable, very, very stable. So Connie, I'll look it up, but I think there were revisions to this. So please challenge me, Joe. This one says 91. So look, there were ones before that.
The 90. Okay, there
That's
was
it,
before
that's it.
that.
But they had a similar form in the 80s as well.
Oh,
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And that was stable for about 10 years. That didn't change. You know, this updating these books now, that's happening because of the legal landscape that's changing. I mean, they're releasing these and then having to produce release notes almost immediately because it's out of date.
Yep.
So Connie, I haven't been able to answer that. It's a bit difficult to go into that, but I think maybe some of the audience might be able to help with that.
Well, that's okay, honey. I was just going to say, because Rich was disfellowshipped in 1990. So, I mean, when I was in, I disassociated in 1983. So I've been out many, many years, 42, 43 years. But the thing is I never heard what you're saying about, and I'm not saying it wasn't correct. I'm just saying when I was in, the only grounds, if there was adultery, it was up to the husband and wife. If they wanted to be intimate together, then the marriage was back on. And it wasn't this issue of this is the first time I'm hearing of it. If they stayed in the same house, you can stay in the same house, but you might be sleeping on the sofa in the living room and she's in her bedroom type of thing.
Yes.
But like you said, it was implied.
It's implied.
It was implied to the congregation. And that's why, I don't have any of those books anymore, but I'll do some research. But one of the things I wanted to say, when I was a servant, I was getting a little nosy, and the person that got me into the Watchtower, I was in his library, and I got baptized in '83. They had that publication in '83 because I looked at it.
Okay.
And one of the first things I saw when I opened it, because I was in the room by myself, I did not know that if you watched boxing and you shared it with other people, you could get disfellowshipped. You told brothers that you were fascinated with boxing.
Wow.
And so that kind of like scared me. So I put the book back.
Interesting. Joe.
Yeah, no, that's quite right. So Joe, just to support you on that, I remember that. And the reason why you might struggle with that is, remember that some of the control is oral instruction. Like they might not print it, and it might also be regional. But I want to just tell you, yes, you're quite right about that policy. And it also is one of those things that is given latitude depending on which congregation you might be in. You might be in a fairly liberal congregation. But if somebody presses the point, Joe, you're 100% correct. Just staying overnight would be enough. And I have a letter to that effect from year 2003 or 4, roundabout there, besides the fact that it also appears in the elders' handbooks as well. And you would probably find it in correspondence guidelines, or you would find it on service desk, because those things that are orally instructed are actually written down. So you would need to find the policy perhaps in deep archives. If they have put it into deep archive, there's several data havens around the world where they've put that information. So you would need to have that access through Hub to be able to draw that out. So not everybody on service desk would have it. It's very compartmentalized and fairly specialized. So they might say, Joe, what is the circumstances? What are the details? And then they would now orally instruct you as to what that is, or they would write to the congregation and give that to the Kobe, for instance, and secretary, and say to them, look, in this case, we would strongly advise you about the situation, that due to the circumstances overnight, if it's become a matter that's well known and there's a strong gossip culture or even libel or slander that's coming up, we can't afford to take that kind of publicity. So, just rule in a hardline way, and that's it. And the elders would be compliant.
Now, Matthew, how many years were you an elder?
I was an elder 25 years.
Oh,
Wow.
my. And your dad was an elder also.
Yeah, you remember. Yes, good man, Connie. Still is a good man. And he'll tell you straight. I mean, if you give him a call and you say, listen, what has happened to the congregation? What is your observation? Do they falsify data? Do they do this? Do they do that? He does his best to keep neutral. Because if ever he's called upon to testify or something like that, if you start showing yourself down with JW or burn the tower down, then you lose your credibility. So he's very, very careful about that. But
Right.
If he's put into a situation where he has to testify or he has to be called as a witness, he'll come forward. He'll say, yes, these persons have allegedly falsified this or allegedly falsified that, and they know. Don't mess around with him. I mean,
Well,
he's still got that respect. Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing, honey. Your daddy is a man of integrity. Good for him.
Matthew,
And my mother too.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
let me ask you this, Matthew. If a person commits adultery, do the scriptures mandate that he must tell his wife or husband?
So that would be encouraged. So if somebody's come forward and said to you, you're an elder, Dick.
Mm-hmm.
Am I still on? Maybe I've been cut off.
Yeah,
But
we can hear you.
okay, so Dick and Joe. Let's say, for instance, you've approached, and somebody says, "Yes, by the way, I committed adultery. I did this, and it's a couple of years ago. It's about 4 years ago that happened." And I think I fit into that category of now enough time has passed and you used me on the regional assembly or whatever, and he presents it in this kind of convincing way. You would then say to him, okay, well, so you believe that you've been forgiven by Jehovah? Oh, yes. I prayed to Jehovah about it. You say, yes, but did you tell your wife? No. Which means that you don't have freeness of speech. And that's a qualification for an elder, according to Timothy and Titus, is that you have freeness of speech and that you have not dealt treacherously with your wife. You must give her the opportunity to say, you know what, you did that. You've come clean with me. You want to know something? My love goes beyond that. You're in the clear, but you came close. So she needs to have that opportunity to do that. And if he doesn't, that would now come into the category of, well, you haven't shown yourself repentant with the right kind of commensurate works. But remember that's following a flow chart in these books.
Mm-hmm.
Does that help?
It does. I've always wondered what scripture mandated me to tell my former wife that I cheated on her. And give me a scripture. And
Okay. I'll try and look up something for you, Dick, if that's useful to you. But it sounds to me like you've reconciled things, but I can find a scripture for you.
well, no, that's all right, Matthew. I thank you for that. No, the marriage has been over 40 years, and I'm happily married now to a wonderful woman. And I was just, for the audience sake, I was just wondering if there was a scripture that somebody knew that said, you don't get forgiveness unless you tell your wife that you are.
Hello, Dick and Constance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Micah. I think that's what it is.
Not like a, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on,
Oh.
Stefan. Hold on. The one thought. Hold on, Stefan. We'd love to hear your thought, but just give us a minute. I was going to say, Matthew, because I think where the problem comes in is, Watchtower has so many rules and regulations, policies,
Yeah.
that sometimes you don't know. I don't know of a scripture that teaches that. And the other thing, let's just back up a little bit. When it comes to the topic of, I was under the understanding when I was in, okay, I never heard what you guys are discussing about a person's committed adultery, one of the spouses, and as long as you're in the house overnight together, then that shows forgiveness. This is the first time I'm hearing of that. I've always heard that if they were intimate together, okay, then there's the forgiveness. But I just find it interesting because, Watchtower makes up these rules. They just totally make up these rules, and they have a direct effect on so many people's families and marriages and have dissolved them, It's very serious.
Well, let me give you a quick scenario. Let's go the other way.
Okay.
Let's say the elders suspect sister is spending the night with a brother or a non-witness.
Okay.
And they do
And
the
she's
old
single.
spying, they
Oh,
do the surveillance.
Oh, yeah.
And they see her car pull up in his apartment garage and she goes in.
Okay.
And believe me, this has happened.
Yeah.
Elders have been put on surveillance and they watch her all night.
Mm-hmm.
They have grounds to have a judicial committee with her because it's implied that she was in there having relations. They may not have even had relations.
Right.
They may have been watching a movie having popcorn, but they witnessed her stay overnight. So you see the implied.
Well, that's the point
scenario.
I'm trying to make. Because if you're in a court of law, it's always you have to show me the evidence. You can't be implying anything.
Yeah.
You have to have the evidence.
And that's where the Watchtower is so messed up.
They are messed up. They are messed up, and they mess up people's lives because of implying things. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately, my eyesight isn't that great. So going through the Elders book as well, it's not easy to find that. But there's a paragraph there, and I think the audience is probably more au fait with it. But I was just looking at chapter 12, which is talking about all of those things. There was a change, and it was saying that there is a circumstance that you can stay overnight and there wouldn't be a particular charge, but it would have to be something like you didn't have transportation or there was an unusual circumstance. So it did become a little bit softened in other revisions. So that did happen. But Joe, you're quite right. There would have been a time period before there was that adjustment. That if they had hired maybe like a private investigator, or they had done a stakeout at the house and trapped you or whatever, or they just saw that somebody went in there. I know that was the instruction to Gilead students up to year 2000. I don't know about other units that came in after the year 2000, but that was valid up till year 2000. It was in the outlines to, you download the Gilead package, and it tells you all the instructor's notes. It would have been verbally given to the students, that scenario, and they would have gotten the students to act out a little mini drama to say, well, how would you judge this situation? So look, I'll just say that that's my affidavit on video to that effect. But remember that they try to obscure some of these more difficult things. You would have to go to something like the deep archives, or hunt around in one of these books or whatever for that, or go to the service desk correspondence guidelines.
One thing you did say that I do appreciate, you said that it's kind of the Elders book, the Shepherd the Flock of God book, is kind of an umbrella, but it's all going to depend on what area you live in.
Yeah.
What's the culture? What kind of elder body do you have?
Yeah.
And I'll give some examples of that later.
That's a good point,
There's
Joe.
so many factors that are
Variables,
involved.
That's a good point, because I think most people think it's across the board. Okay. And Stefan, go ahead, honey. You want to say something? We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Oh, yeah, this is Chris in Arizona. I was an elder from the early 90s to the early 2000s. And I apologize, I didn't get the other gentleman's name that's with you, but what he just said sounds about right. I think it has to do with culture, region, and the body of elders, because a lot of times when these things came to light, to the body of elders if there had been infidelity. There was there were children involved, finances, different things. So we didn't ever insist on any immediate separation or anything like that. But there again, I mean, I haven't been an elder since the early 2000s. So, but that was my understanding of things as an elder back then. We never actually. I'm trying to think. I dealt with several cases, and I don't even think that particular thing ever came to light. Once it came to light, like they were trying to counsel both parties, this and that it ever came to light where the offending party had to move out or whatever.
Now, Chris, I'm not familiar with you. How many years were you an elder?
About that.
About what?
From the early 90s to the early 2000s.
I'm sorry, honey, you're cut off. How many years?
About 10.
The connection's bad. The
Okay.
connection.
Well, I wanted to disrupt your conversation there. So, but I'll say it again. It was about 10 years I was an elder.
Yeah, I still don't get it.
15 years.
15 years. Okay. Yeah. And so in your congregation, the situation would not have been the same for Rich had he been in your congregation then. That's what he's saying.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Yeah,
breaking.
correct.
Okay. Well, also the other thing that came into play is his former wife, her name was Pam, and her brother was an elder. And I said to Rich, I know her brother got right in the middle of your marriage because she gave him a letter and she was willing to work things out. But the elders got right in the middle of their marriage and caused the divorce. She didn't want to work it out anymore.
Yeah, it was a factor.
It was a big factor.
It was a big factor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted to take this program tonight.
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
That's Chris. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
Fall under the category of elders getting involved.
I'm sorry, because you're breaking up really bad. We hear every other word you're saying.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead and bow out. Got the gist of what I was saying. That's fine. I'm enjoying your program.
Well, thank you,
Thank
honey.
you.
If you can come on the StreamYard or whatever, or maybe another phone, because we'd really love to hear what you have to say. But Rich is right. Every other word we're hearing, you're cut off. But thank you for coming
Okay,
on.
Roger.
This disfellowshipping, they can disfellowship person. If you read Crisis of Conscience
Oh, yeah.
and you ask an elder and say, listen,
Oh, yeah.
he's bringing up all the hypocrisy and the false prophecies and so forth. Can you explain that?
Or Malawi versus the
Yeah.
Mexico brothers.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you ask, they would
An honest question.
an honest question. We've had people on 6 screens
Mm.
over the years
Mm.
say, yeah, I was a fellowship because I asked about questions about Ray Francis' book, Crisis of Conscience.
Yeah.
And the other one that he wrote, and they get disfellowshipped.
Right.
Okay? That's cruel. When you disfellowship somebody and you take their family away, and then they paint you as a horrible person.
Evil.
They
Evil
tell Jehovah's Witnesses that if a person's disfellowshipped, he's an enemy of Jehovah.
Mm-hmm.
And they also have put in print that if it wasn't for the laws of the state of the country, that they would execute people
Mm-hmm.
that were disfellowshipped.
Mm-hmm.
You can get disfellowship for this causing divisions. If you ask questions about how come in 1930 they said this and 1960 they said this, and it's the exact opposite. You're causing divisions, disfellowship you.
Yes.
I know a time once when I was up at Hampton Beach, New Hampshire. It's coastal resort for those who don't know. And I was walking with my 2 sons, and my oldest boy was to my right. We were going north, and he was getting his ankles in the water, and I was in the middle. And I was looking at my oldest boy answering one of his questions, and it was a puppy on the beach. And my youngest boy, he was probably 5, maybe 4, and he ran over to pat the puppy, and the puppy went behind an umbrella that was on the ground, and he was there patting him.
But you didn't know that.
I didn't. I looked around, and
He's gone.
He's gone.
Yes.
And I'm screaming, and I probably screamed so loud I probably scared him. And there's a rip current at Hampton Beach. And I said, "Oh my God, he's out at the sea," you know. But I only took my eyes off him for a minute or two to look at the older boy.
Right.
What a horrible, horrible feeling.
Wow.
My heart really goes out to anyone who's had their child kidnapped, or a father that can't talk to his children. And that happened to me. Once my boys turned 18, they wouldn't talk to me. And the Watchtower said, 18, that's it. You're an adult.
Well, see, those are man-made rules that Watchtower creates,
But it's
Rich.
cruel.
You know, it's very cruel. And yet, you know, you have the 10 Commandments to honor your mother and father.
Yep,
Watchtower thinks they have a right to supersede that.
that's exactly
And your
right.
boys are
Constance.
45 and 50 now, and you still don't have a relationship with them because of Watchtower. Yes, go ahead, please. Go
I'm
ahead.
loving the program.
Thank you.
Hi, it's RJ here.
Hi, RJ.
Hi, RJ.
I hope everybody's having a great Independence Day.
Yeah,
Thank you, honey. Yes, we
Bye-bye.
are. We hope you are too.
And then
Little
I
flag.
think like the theme of the show is
Yeah.
our independence from being
Yeah.
associated with the JW organization,
Yeah.
and how blessed we are to be free from that.
Well, you got that so right.
you know, we don't have to
So,
go 5
so
meetings a
right.
week. We don't have to worry every minute of the day that Armageddon is going to come tomorrow and destroy everything.
Yeah, we're not going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
We're not
And-
going to be destroyed by Jehovah God. We're
Yeah.
not. That's a big lie.
And not to get political, but I guess, you know, 1776 means different things to different people, but the starting point is one of the lessons my mother taught me when I was a kid was if you're getting a bad deal or you're getting a bad rap or whatever, you can walk away from the negotiating table if you don't like the deal being presented.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of is the attitude I had when I left, and probably a lot of people when they left, you know?
Yeah.
If you're getting a bad deal, it's okay to say this doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
It is okay to say that, and you probably should. The problem is for a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses, not all of them, but a great number of them, they have a whole family in there.
Yeah.
So they walk away, nobody will talk to them.
Right.
And also, along with that, is I've had a number of jobs where I worked for Jehovah's Witnesses. There were elders and so forth. So you walk away, you lose your job. You lose your job, you lose your house. You
Right.
know?
Your livelihood.
Yeah, it kind of works like that. So, and then once you're in there 10, 15 years, well, hey, you know, you're so indoctrinated that you're not going to walk out. Very few people walk out after they've been there 15, 20 years, even though there are oceans and oceans and oceans of evidence that it's a cult, it's a fraud, it's all about the money. They've got wonderful stuff on YouTube. Just watch YouTube for a while,
Yeah.
and you'd be amazed at some of these people that really do a deep dive investigation. You know, Winston for one, and
You know,
John Ledger.
you know, Dick, I think, I kind of agree with some of that. I kind of agree, like, it's your own individual circumstances. Like, you know, like if you're Serena Williams' boyfriend and it's contingent on you being a witness, yeah, maybe you should stay a witness. But
Yeah, there
a
you
lot of
go.
us, like for me, in my case, I didn't have a lot of wind at my back. You know, I wasn't working with a brother. I had friends being a witness, but I didn't have any type of love life. My social skills were really way behind what they should be because of that environment.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not have anything going for me.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Joe, there's a hood saying that says, I'd rather be judged by a jury of 12 than be carried by 6, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
be carried by 6.
That's right.
Going to your grave, huh?
Yeah, funeral,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's saying that if it's life or death, you take your chance, or you got to take your chance there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
So that was what I was facing. Like, I can explain to people, hey, it didn't work out for me. Hey, I got to do something else. Hey, it's taking a toll. I don't have a life. I'm pro-life. Being a witness, I don't have any life.
Yeah.
So
No, you didn't.
I have to, I'm better off explaining that to them than I would be, just watching my mental health deteriorate and have, nothing left and wasting more years
Right.
and becoming more of a nutcase. I couldn't do it.
Right. Or you outgrow the witnesses. You outgrow it. It just gets very boring and mundane and same routine, same, how many times do we hear the same talk over and over?
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my gosh.
Stay close
Hey,
to your
Constance and Dick, this is Rick at the Six Greens.
Yes.
We do have a member of the Joe Dario fan club on with us.
Oh, good.
Oh, this
Yeah.
is
He
Yes.
briefly talked to Joe last
right.
Sunday, but Steve, he's out of New Zealand. He is the biggest apostate in all of New Zealand. So, Steve, say hello to Joe. I wanted to have you meet him, kind of like through video here. So, Steve, say hello to Joe.
Hi, Steve.
Hi,
Hey,
Joe. Hi, Joe. Can you see me?
He can see you, Steve.
Yeah,
Hi, Joe. I protest outside the Kingdom Hall because the JW men are drugging girls before rape. The JW men are a drug sex porn cartel. It's the men in there that are drugging the young woman before rape.
Yeah. So what Steve's saying here is the elders in New Zealand are really upset with Steve being the biggest apostate in New Zealand. Steve has been coming in, listening in every Saturday night, but he really got attached to Joe. He loves Joe Dario, and there's a sign that he made up. And he goes to the Kingdom Hall with his little sign there. So that's good, Steve. My goodness gracious.
That's
so
great, Steve.
that is great.
Thank you so much for all you do.
Yes. Thank you.
You are doing a wonderful job in New Zealand. Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. Just wanted to bring you on, and I told you I'd want to do that for you, Steve. So you just keep cranking away at it. Keep listening in. Well, what else would you like to say to Joe? Be very brief now.
I would see this is my sign. What I would, Joe, I would love you to send me the video on the podcast you did on the Green Mile because I really like that.
Well, I'll try to do another video. I'll try to get one.
On the Green Mile, and I remember you had the knife in your pocket and the umbrella, remember, and the box of matches. But I would like to show you what I do when the Jehovah's Witnesses come into my neighborhood. I take my sign up to them, and
well, there you go. You show it, Steve. So listen, Jim. There you go.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
Up a little higher.
Up a little bit higher.
Up a little higher, Steve. Higher. That's good.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
Well, you're doing a great job, Steve.
Here's some fun.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Steve. All right, Steve.
There they are. I'll show you where they are.
Well, that's at the Kingdom Hall. Yeah, there they are. All right. Well, Steve, listen, there we go. Well, good job, Steve.
I
Good
have
job.
a quick question. Steve, I have relatives that are barristers in Christchurch. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me.
I don't think so.
Thank you, Steve.
Steve,
Thank
Are
you.
are you by any chance near Christchurch, New Zealand? I have relatives that are barristers, which are attorneys. Are you near Christchurch?
I'm no, I'm not. I'm in the North Island.
Okay.
I'm in the North Island. This elder Claude has a beard, a beard, and he's warning the congregation about me.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk.
Well, you are the most dangerous apostate over there. Like you say, you consider yourself a pariah. Hey, Steve, we're going to move on now. Like I mentioned here, I bring you on for a short time, but we got some more stuff going on here tonight. But thank you for coming in. Thank you, Steve. Yep.
Thank you. I'd just like to, since this is the 250th anniversary of this country, on Six Greens, we don't get political or anything like that. But I just want to just throw out a thought that there's no better country to live in than the United States of America. No, if you're just an average guy, you have a better chance of success in this United States of America than you're going to have anywhere in the world. I firmly believe that. I love this country, and the Jehovah's Witnesses taught me not to love this country, not to salute the flag, but they don't have any problems telling their JW followers to go get the food stamps from the government and do this from the government.
Medicaid, Medi-Cal, all of that.
But
taxpayers' money.
Yeah, they don't want you saluting the flag,
right?
Or anything like that. And it's just too bad. They don't want you to have anything to do with the government, with the politics. But Russell and Rutherford had no problem writing a love letter to Hitler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They don't have any problems with that.
Yeah.
They don't have any problems going after the government's money.
Right. That's a very good point.
In fact, the Watchtower, what's hypocritical about the Watchtower, in many of their publications, especially the Proclaimer's book, they said that they were champions of freedom of speech and freedom of religion. Well, actually, the real champions were the military, the United States, that made laws that give us that freedom of religion, freedom of speech. It wasn't the Watchtower.
No.
It certainly wasn't.
No.
Star 6, if you'd like to comment on anything we've been talking about tonight. I'm sure there's a number waiting in the queue. Star 6. You want to ask an elder a question?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Anybody out there?
Stefan was on there earlier.
Dick and Connie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
hello. Is that you, Stefan?
Yes, it
Hello?
is. How are you guys tonight?
Good. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. We got hit with some bad weather, so everybody in Chicago is trying to dry out. We've got more weather coming in, so just one of those things. I'm really enjoying this topic, and I could probably talk 30 minutes on this. I was never an elder, but sometimes not being an elder and being in the rank and file, you really kind of see what's going on. But one story that comes to my mind, I had a good friend, and one day she called me. She was pretty upset, and I asked her what was going on.
Yeah.
And long story short, there was something that her brother-in-law, her sister's husband, who was an elder. This is one of these elder families. Her dad was an elder, mom a regular pioneer.
Yep.
The two sisters were both married to witnesses. They were both elders, all at the same hall.
Yep.
And there was something that had happened, and everybody's suspicion in their family was that the husband was an elder, had committed adultery. So she even went to the elders. This is the wife. And said, something's going on. I know something's going on. I can just feel it. You guys probably know what's going on. He demanded to know what was going on. And they kept telling her that they can't reveal things
She has to go and talk to her husband. So this one night they were all supposed to have this conversation, and mysteriously there was a fire that happened at the Kingdom Hall. So after all was said and done, nothing was ever, he was never disciplined in any way, never ever told his wife whatever it was that had gone on, never had to stop being an elder, never received any kind of discipline whatsoever. It was just all swept under the carpet as if nothing happened, and everybody was just expected to move on. So I just relate that because I heard everything that you guys said earlier, and Brother Dario there, and the gentleman from South Africa, and they're so right about that. And the thing that's so frustrating, and I think that you touched on it, Connie, is they have all these rules and regulations, and hardly any of them are scriptural. And even if there's a scripture on it, it's always so vague and up for interpretation that two different people will read it and come away with two different answers. But it's so frustrating when you grow up in that organization, because those elders could just take that Bible and they can play it like a fiddle and make it say anything that they want to say. And then a week later, backtrack on what they said, and we said something else, or we meant something else. And then for the average witness, they know nothing about all these bizarre rules.
That's right.
If your husband committed adultery and you spent the night, then that means that you've forgiven him. No, that doesn't mean that I've forgiven him. It just meant that maybe he didn't have anywhere to go that night, or maybe the wife didn't think to put him out that night. I mean, there's all kinds of extenuating circumstances. But when we just hear ourselves talking about the bizarre activity in this organization, their bizarre teachings and beliefs, it's amazing that we all didn't wake up, so much earlier. But for those of us that are born in, and I'm born in, that's all I can really talk about. Craziness can seem normal until you get a taste of what's really normal. Then you actually see that what you thought was normal was in fact crazy. But it's just so funny that you guys are bringing this craziness up that we were all a part of, and all these bizarre rules, and then they can flip flop on the dime and all the rest. It's just amazing. This is such an excellent topic.
Honey, all of us, we really love your comments. We always love when you chime in, because you always speak from your heart. But just a couple of thoughts I wanted to say. When you're a born in, I was not a born in. Rich was not a born in, but Joe was. When you're a born in, that's all you know. You don't have any other reference to make a comparison to. So you think it is normal.
Exactly right.
That's one big, huge thing. The other thing I was going to say to you, Stefan, is in reference to the situation with this man who was an elder, and you said that there was a fire inside the Kingdom Hall. It made me start to wonder if maybe, since he had been an elder, maybe he went back to where the files were and caught the files on fire in the Kingdom Hall, so there wouldn't be any evidence, right? So that he'd have to,
you never know.
It makes me wonder, right?
You never know. But like I said, it was so suspicious, because they never ever had a fire at the Kingdom Hall. And on the night after she had raised so much hell, and she demanded to have all the elders there, and her husband's she's going to make him. And the very night they finally get to do this, and all of a sudden there's a fire. So it was very suspicious.
Very.
And it's so true what you said, that when you were born in, the insane seems normal.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did when I woke up, and we're talking 2017, 2018, somewhere in there, is I did a deep dive on cults.
Yes.
I kept asking myself, how in the hell did I get into something that is just so obviously a cult and insane?
Yes.
And I started doing a deep dive, and I read the books that the Stephen Hassans and the Dr. Margaret Singer, that they based all of their stuff on. I went back and read the old stuff. And one of the reasons, like you said, is because I was born into it. This was spoon-fed to me from the age of 3 by my one parent. So why would I think that the parent is telling me something that, isn't true? If they're saying that this is the truth and this is the best way of life, then that's what you're going to believe and go by. So you're so right about that. When you're spoon-fed that is your reality.
Yeah. And you know what, honey? We were just watching. We like watching different videos, but there was one on YouTube talking about Gen Z, which is the latest generation of young people. and they said that what you have is 66. You're talking about people born in now, JWs. 66% of them leave the organization. So in other words,
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 they leave. They're born in. You had 3 of them
Right.
born in, and 2 of them out of the 3 are leaving the cult because they're online and they can read all this information, and everything's at your fingertips, and
Exactly.
they know it's a bunch of nonsense. And so they don't
Yeah.
care. They don't care about what Watchtower is teaching. They don't care about the manipulation control. They don't care about the paradise. They can see right through the nonsense, and it's like, I'm going to live my life. I'm out of here when I'm 18. Yeah. So it's very different. You grew up, honey, and we all did at a different generation, but thank God you woke up. And I hope eventually, Stefan, I hope your girls wake up too, honey. I really do. And I hope you get to have
Me too.
a relationship with them. You're a great person. I'm sure you're a great
Yeah.
father.
Wonderful
Yes.
guy.
Wonderful.
Stefan, did you
I
read
try to be.
did you read Kingdom of the Cults? Did you read that book?
Yes, I
That
did.
one? Yeah,
I
I
did.
thought so.
Mhm.
I thought so. Great book.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah, I
book.
read that one, and I read the book by Robert J. Lifton, which is essentially what Dr. Margaret Singer built her whole career out of one chapter out of his book. But he actually went to, I believe it was China, trying to understand how that whole country could be turned to communism and could commit some of the grossest atrocities. Everybody thinks about atrocities, you only think of Hitler, but all these countries have committed atrocities. And he was trying to answer the question, how do you turn an entire nation of people into these monstrous individuals? And that's cult control, because you can't apply cult techniques at a national level, whether people want to accept that or not, but you can. That was part of what communism was, and Nazism and all the rest.
Yeah.
But yes, I did. I read all those books. And that's why I always encourage people when they leave. I always say, if you haven't left Watchtower for doctrinal reasons, then you really haven't left. And once you leave, you need to go and study about cults, because if you don't, you can find yourself right in another cult.
Right.
Oh yeah,
Right.
you're absolutely
Right.
And it's kind of like Nazism, in a way. They groom you step by step. There's steps to it,
Mhm.
And when you think of the people that grew up in the 1910, 1920, 1930, then Hitler came in the 1935, I believe. In that area, he became chancellor.
Mm.
They started a propaganda campaign saying that the Jews cost Germany World War One.
Oh, that was a lie.
It was an absolute lie.
Right.
But fairly honest-hearted people that grew up in either the Catholic Church or the Protestant Church. I think Germany was a Catholic country. They grew up with, priests, and I mean, you can knock the Catholic Church if you want, but they grew up. A lot of these people that became prison guards and had no problem throwing live children in furnaces. Had no problem just killing people. Had no problem going to a Jewish person's house and taking them out of their houses they work for and ship them off, and they never appear again.
And taking all their money.
Take all their money. And the people doing it weren't like sadistic, devil-worshipping people.
Right.
They were just trained to believe that the Jews were horrible people
It's
and
propaganda.
they should be destroyed, which is actually, the Jewish people are, as a class, they're pretty smart people.
Oh, they're very bright.
And they're decent people. They're good. But not just everyday people were,
There's a propaganda, Rich.
committing atrocities.
Yeah.
6 million Jews taken out of their homes and murdered, starved, beat to death, worked to death, starved to death.
Yep.
And the propaganda machine of the Nazis had them believing that these people were evil.
Yeah.
Watchtower does the same
Sure
thing.
they do.
They do the same
Sure
thing.
they
Same exact thing.
Yes, they do.
They're going to say, they're going to
You
tell
guys just talked about how Watchtower got right into your marriage and told your wife not to sleep in the bed with you. How insane is that?
Mm-hmm. Or
You
kick
know,
them
my
out.
dad
Kicked
was
them out
in
of the house.
fellowship when I was a little kid. I wasn't even in school. And I was fully expected to treat him differently. I never did. If I was going to treat somebody different, it would have been my mom, who I was not a big fan of. But I was very close to my dad. But that's the kind of insanity. I mean, when you just take a step back and say this real so-called religious organization is so up in people's business, even telling you what kind of sex you can have with your mate, and if your mate decides they don't want to be a Jehovah's Witness, then you don't sleep in the same bed. I mean, insanity. I can't even put it in words how insane you can get being in these cults, and that's why they're so dangerous, and that's why I'm so thankful that you guys are doing what you're doing, and Rick Barron and all the rest. And I just want to say one last thing.
Sure.
I loved when you were talking about the United Nations, because that was one of the things that woke me up very quickly. But it's interesting, if you pay attention to Watchtower used to say just a few years ago that the things that the members would hear from those wicked apostates are all lies. Notice the change in verbiage. Now they say, don't listen to negative comments about the Jehovah's Witnesses. They don't say that they're not true anymore. They don't say that they're lies, because they're not lies. I've never heard one lie on any one of these XJW programs. Not one. We are the first people to correct somebody. What did you say that was? No, that wasn't 1969. That was 1970. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. We're the first ones. We'll correct somebody in a heartbeat. But Watchtower knows, so they no longer tell people that what we say are lies and mistruths or half-truths. They just simply say, don't listen to the negative comments about it. And so this is what Watchtower witnesses do. So anything that we go to them with, they'll say, oh, that's negative towards the organization. You know, I don't want to hear it. I mean, it's the insanity just knows no bounds. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you, Stefan. Your comments are always so incredible. There's a lot of wisdom behind what you always say. Yep.
Star 6. Anyone want to make a comment? Connie just mentioned the word files, and I thought that was interesting.
What is it?
A few minutes ago, you just mentioned files. The Watchtower has files on everybody, like the Nazis.
Yeah.
Nazis were great
Documenters.
documenters.
Yes,
thank you, Joe.
Watchtower is too.
And in the Watchtower, if you committed adultery 15 years ago, it's documented. You know, it's out there. They keep a file on it
Forever, don't they?
But look at our Heavenly Father, Jesus Christ. When they forgive a sin, that sin is, although it be like scarlet, it's going to be washed white as snow or lamb's wool.
Right.
They wash it in the blood of Jesus Christ.
Right.
Or that sin is from
east to west.
From east.
East to west.
From east to west. There you go.
Yeah.
From east to west.
Yeah. You don't have to go before a board. You don't have to go before a body of elders to be repentant. Jesus knows what's in your heart.
Yeah. I know when I went to my judicial committee, Brother Borgie, 15 years ago, you fell into the same. How did you know that? Well, we got a record. They have a record.
Can I make a comment?
Yeah, go
about
ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Judicial committees? You know, if they want to use, I believe it's James chapter 4, and I'm not trying to use scripture,
No, it's okay,
but
honey. Go ahead.
it says, "Is there anyone sick among you? Let him go to the older men." Now, it doesn't say a group of 3.
No.
A group of 4. Could be 1 man, it could be 2. But the point is, it says, and those men will pray with him, making the indisposed one well. So the key point is, if a person needs help, let's say alcoholism, smoking, maybe
Any
having
kind of strongholds. Maybe gambling. Whatever.
Desires of the flesh. If he goes to an older man, a man that he respects, or 2 older men that he respects, they would pray with him. They would help him. Now, you look at the Watchtower, they form committees of men that are not qualified when it comes to psychology, family matters, Most elders have no background in family psychology, family dynamics. In fact, most elders aren't even married. Well, a lot of them aren't. But that's the problem with these judicial committees.
Or they don't have kids.
They're
right?
not they're not
Some of them.
qualified
Right.
to make the indisposed one well.
Right.
And you never see a judicial committee help a person that may have an alcohol problem, that may have
Good point, John.
an addiction.
Good point.
They just want to
Judge everybody.
deal with them and judge them.
Yeah. And destroy them.
Yep.
That's an excellent point,
You
Joe.
know, the Truth Book was the book that I studied when I became a Jehovah's Witness.
Mhm.
And in towards the back, I don't know what chapter it was now, but it's, as Joe alluded to, if you've fallen into sin, you can go to the elders and they will help you. If you, like, say, adultery, you know adultery is wrong. You don't really need to go to 3 elders or 2 elders or even 1 elder for that matter to know that. But if you're having problems with asking the Holy Spirit to come into your life, something like that, well, like going to the elders could be a good way to go. But oftentimes, most of the time, when you're going to an elder or a group of elders, you say, you know, I got drunk the other night and I had sex with someone I wasn't married to. Well, they might private reprove you, public reprove you, or disfellowship you. They're going to punish you. I went to the elders and said, I committed adultery. They had to do something. So they decided to disfellowship me because I was giving them, the elders in my congregation, a hard time about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So when I confessed to adultery, they were jumping up and down with joy because,
Payback time.
yeah, oh, we'll get rid of him now. He gave the circuit overseer a hard time, and
Right.
yeah, that's how they work it.
Can I say something too?
Yeah.
There at the last 2 years when I was an elder, I really wasn't a judicial committee elder. I was on judicial committees. I'm ashamed of it, but at the end, I couldn't do it anymore, and it was giving me nightmares, panic attacks. You got to understand, you're dealing with human beings.
Oh, yeah.
But there was an individual that would call me a lot, and I felt so bad for him. He would relapse with either smoking or something else, and every time I'd go to his apartment, he had a HUD apartment, HUD housing, government-assisted housing, and every time I would go, it would break my heart because he would be on the ground, and he'd be in the fetal position, and he would say, God is going to kill me. Jehovah's going to kill me. Jehovah's going to kill me. And I would have to actually calm him down and get him on the couch and tell him, God is not going to kill you. And that became a practice because unfortunately he would relapse a lot, and he would call me because he knew I was not going to judge him. And a lot of it was because he would relapse with smoking and pornography. But I just couldn't go to the elders. I just couldn't do it. I would pray with him, and I just helped him the best I could. And what was very interesting, after I got this fellowship, I had an aunt who was not one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Most of my family were witnesses. And she called me, and I'll never forget, I was living in Colorado at the time, and she said that, darn Watchtower, look at what they're doing to Carla. And I said, what's wrong with Carla? Now, Carla was one of Jehovah's Witnesses. She got disfellowshipped. And Carla had the same thing going on. She was she had a severe nervous breakdown. And she would walk around the house. God is going to kill me. I don't like to use the word Jehovah. God is going to kill me. God is going to kill me. Well, that's what the Watchtower instills in people. Fear, obligation, guilt. And the guilt was rampant. When I became an elder, I had no clue how many people would come to me and want to just unload on me. And it was just it
Yes.
would break my heart because some of the things that they would unload were not even serious matters, but they felt the urge to confess.
Right, right,
So
right.
anyway, I just wanted to share that with you, Stefan.
And that's a heavy burden for someone who's not
Hey,
professional,
Joe.
you know?
Yes.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's RJ. I know you like to talk about your time as an elder, or maybe not. You don't like to talk about it, but you still do. But what were like the, in my opinion, like the people who have it worse are young people and then single mothers in the organization. What are like some judicial committees you've been a part of that just, you didn't feel right about, or you still remember to this day?
Well, I'll share an experience with you that the poor young man ended up getting this fellowship for something else. But I'll tell you what happened. I was at a meeting one night, and an elder by the name of Larry approached me, and he said, "I want you in the back room with me. I'm going to interrogate a young brother." Now, he did two things wrong.
The elder?
The elder.
Okay.
He did not go to the presiding overseer, which you need to go to the presiding overseer, and the elders are supposed to. And again, I'm not no longer an elder. I'm not promoting Watchtower, but this was the way you're supposed to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you know that a brother might be committing a sin, you don't go interrogate him without going to the body first.
Mm-hmm.
You get with the Kobe, you get with the group of men and say, "Hey, I have an issue that I want to bring to the attention of the elders.
Mm-hmm.
I think there might be misconduct."
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't do that.
Okay.
Second thing, this young man was under 18. His mother was still a witness. His dad was not one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay. So he's a minor.
Minor.
Mm-hmm.
Mother was in the Kingdom Hall.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't invite her in the back. So I remember going to the back room. He closed the door, and I'll just tell you the young man's name. His name was Ian. I'll just say his first name.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, Larry was sitting down, and then he accused him of smoking marijuana.
Mm.
Now I'm like, he didn't even brief me on what was going on.
Okay.
He says, "I know you're smoking pot. I have one witness. I need you to tell me what you're doing." And Ian said, "I'm not smoking pot." Now, I'm going to tell you what happened, and this shook me to the core.
Okay.
Larry got up out of his seat, grabbed Ian, threw him against the wall, and said, "I'm going to nail your ASS to the wall. You just wait," and he let him go.
And this kid was, you said under 18,
He,
but how
he
old
was
were you?
probably 16.
16. Okay.
I actually had to get between Larry and tell him, "You need to calm down." By the way, the third thing he didn't do was say a prayer.
Oh, wow.
So he did not go to the Kobe, didn't have the young man's mother back there,
Oh, wow.
which she would have protested.
Oh, yeah.
And then we didn't even open with prayer. That shows you how unqualified
Mm-hmm.
these elders are. And unfortunately, I was a part of that. I had to stop Larry I had to get between him because he had that poor young man. He was holding him against the wall.
Wow.
That shows a lack of self-control.
Right.
This man should have never been an elder.
Right. Right. Right.
It just shows the power trip he was
Oh, yeah.
involved
Totally.
in. By the way, a little bit about Larry.
Yeah.
Larry has a big family. He has 2 sons and 5 daughters. I'm not making this up.
7 kids.
5 of his daughters are disfellowshipped. He has
surprise.
no association with his daughters. I worked with one of his daughters at a hospital, and I said, "Do you ever visit your dad?" She said, "I can't."
Mm-hmm.
He shuns his daughters, and it just breaks my heart.
Yeah.
This is what the Watchtower does to people.
Yeah.
But the point I wanted to make clear,
Yeah.
your question, have I ever dealt with a young man? That's the only time. It wasn't a judicial issue. It was kind of an investigation, but it really shows that elders, they shoot from the hip. They don't even do it right.
So what happened with the situation with that young kid, Ian?
I actually approached his mother about the whole situation. I was
Yeah.
trying to do some PR,
Yeah.
because she didn't know what had happened.
Wow.
Later on, unfortunately, him and another individual got busted by the sheriff's office making meth. So,
Oh, wow.
unfortunately.
Oh, wow.
Okay. But that was like a year later.
Yeah. But do you think that this elder, Larry, had a thing for him? I mean,
Yeah, he
like
didn't like him. He didn't like him.
Mhm.
And that's another thing you see in the organization. I think Matthew mentioned that every body of elders is different.
Yeah.
And you have elders
Yeah.
that have a bone to pick with people,
Mhm.
and they'll use that against you. Just as there's nepotism,
Yeah.
just as there's favoritism, there's also the opposite.
Wow. And not all the elders get along either, huh,
Hey.
Joe?
Joe.
Not all the elders get along.
No.
Go ahead.
Hey, Joe, can I come in, Joe?
Yes.
Go ahead. Please.
Am I coming through? I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, honey, we can hear you. Go ahead, please. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Joe, I have a question for you, and I don't want you to take it as a smart aleck question or anything like that. But
Okay.
but you were just you were just describing an elder, how he threw this kid up against the wall, and you commented that it just goes to show you how unqualified these elders are. And so my question is to you, and please don't take it as a smart aleck comment, because I don't mean it that way. Do you feel that you were a qualified elder when you was an elder?
No.
That's
And I'll tell you
great
why.
question.
Great question.
Joe always wanted to explain this.
I want to explain this.
Mhm.
Now keep in mind,
Mhm.
the only reason I was qualified to be a ministerial servant is I was doing above average the hours. I was visible. And of course, I auxiliary pioneered throughout the year. But that's not a qualification.
Right.
I actually did not have people skills. I was not a certified in counseling. I was not certified in psychology. All I had was a high school diploma. So what would make me qualified to deal with people to the point where I would be in a position to ruin lives? I mentioned that I didn't like being in judicial committees, but unfortunately you get sucked into them, and lives were destroyed. I was not qualified. In fact, I'm going to say something. I know Rich gets mad when I say this. I was a very low IQ person. I did not have critical thinking skills. The reason I was still in the Watchtower tells you I didn't have critical thinking skills. Because if I had critical thinking skills, I probably would have rejected being a servant and an elder.
And you were born in.
And I was born in.
He was born in.
I was born in.
Mhm.
And I'll just give you an example of how my critical thinking skills were not good. Before I got baptized, I was out in service with the man that wanted me to be a publisher, then, a baptized witness, then a ministerial servant, and then an elder. He was pushing me. I asked him one day, we were walking out in the ministry, and there was this young kid. He had Down syndrome. He was in the front yard. And I remember he had this large plastic bat, and he was swinging. And to me, I thought the kid was blind, but he just had Down syndrome. And I was not baptized yet. I was a publisher. And I decided to ask Lee. I said, Lee, if Armageddon came tomorrow, now his parents were sitting on the porch. I said, with that young man,
Muted.
and you know what Lee told me? He said, no, unless his parents become Jehovah's Witnesses, that boy will die at Armageddon. If I had critical thinking skills, I would have said, Lee, I don't want to be a part of this organization. Take my book bag, take my publications, bye-bye. But see, I didn't have critical thinking skills because I was raised in that structure. Even though I had issues with salvation. I actually thought Lee would say, well, God's going to understand his situation. But that wasn't the way it was. So no, I was not qualified to be an elder. I was not qualified in any of those scopes of practice I mentioned. And of course, I was not a critical thinker.
And you also took up a question.
Hey, Joe?
Yeah.
Hey, Joe?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
I know you guys talked about they had regional publications. Some things were acceptable. What's acceptable in Alabama? What's acceptable in Washington State or New England or whatever? I remember I had a nanny or a caretaker, whatever you want to call it. I had a plastic toy. It was a van that was a pizza van. And she's like, well, you like the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles like pizza. This is too close to that. And she confiscated the van. It's just the pizza van. Come on.
Yeah.
And then that's kind of how witnesses are. They're kind of, however far you want to take it is how they do it. You know, even if something as innocuous as a pizza van was something I couldn't have that got confiscated, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Joe, I have another question for you, man.
good, Joe.
Okay,
Am I
go ahead.
coming through? I don't know if I'm coming through or
Yep,
not.
we can hear you. Go ahead, please.
Yeah. Okay. Joe, this is directed to you.
Okay.
You know, I've been talking to some ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and I find that it's kind of weird because some of them have really gone off to the deep end. They just don't seem to believe in anything. I find that some of them are starting to believe in this. I don't know how to explain it. They don't believe in anything. They're often some world where they become more of a someone who's a philosophy. They use philosophy as a guide through their lives. You know, they don't believe in the Bible. Some have even told me that they don't believe that even Moses existed. You know, and part in the Red Sea, that's all legend. So my question is to you, how do you feel right now about, do you believe that the Bible is the Word of God? And do you believe that Jesus was crucified and that there is a creator? Or have you gone kind of, I don't want to say the deep end, because I don't think that you're in the deep, went off into the deep end. But where do you stand? Do you still believe that there's a creator who created us and there's a purpose for mankind? Or have you gotten to the point in your life where, and I find that all Jehovah's Witnesses experience the drama that they go through. I went through it myself. I went through a really bad time in my life, you know. And I felt like I was living in the twilight zone until I finally got my head cleared and I started to reasoning with myself.
Yeah.
But do you still believe that the Bible was written by inspired men by God? And do you still believe that Jesus was crucified and there is a God up there somewhere?
Well, let me share something with you. After I got disfellowshipped, you got to understand, I lost most of my family because most of my family was in the Watchtower. I lost my only tribe because that's the only people you could associate with. So I'll tell you what happened to me. For the first probably couple of years, I went into a depression. I still suffer from anxiety, but I will tell you what I do believe in. I believe in God. I believe in Christ Jesus. I believe he died for us. But here's how I'm just going to share my belief real quick. Do you remember when Jesus was talking to the Samaritan woman at the well? Remember that account? Okay. Well, she said, teacher, or she was a Samaritan. She said, Jesus, my forefathers worship in the mountains. Right. And the Jews worship in Jerusalem. And Jesus said a very profound point that I use as my philosophy. Jesus said, the hour is coming when people will worship in spirit and truth. So that's the way I worship. I worship in spirit and truth. And then there's one more thing, caveat with that. I can't think of what scripture it is, but it's in Corinthians, either 1st or 2nd Corinthians. There's a scripture that says we are not to be masters of another person's faith. The Apostle Paul said that for a reason. So like if I meet somebody that's an ex-witness and they're struggling, they don't know what to believe, and they go a different route, I'm not a master of their faith. I might encourage them to reach out toward the scriptures, but it's going to be up to them to decide. And see, that's the problem with the whole Watchtower. And I believe Stephen and others could also back this up. The elders, the governing body, they become masters of faith. Right. They are not masters of our faith. We are masters of our faith. And Jesus Christ died for all mankind, not for the governing body, not just for the 144,000. So that was a good question, and that's my belief. I hope I answered that right.
Well, and even, like Larry John Wayne has said, even among Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't realize that Watchtower teaches that Jesus is not their mediator.
Yeah, he's an archangel.
He's an archangel.
How ridiculous.
And that's the foundation of Christianity right there. And so a lot of witnesses don't even know what Watchtower teaches.
It does break my heart.
That's blasphemy right there. That's blasphemy.
It does break my heart. But can you blame some people that they're hurt so bad by the Watchtower that it may be a brief period, it may be a longer period, that they don't want anything to do with the Bible at all?
No, you
I
can't.
mean, they've been beaten to shreds. And I've seen people beaten to shreds in the Watchtower. Not physically beaten, but morally beaten, mentally beaten. They're exhausted, and they come out, whether they're disfellowshipped or they disassociate, and for a while they don't want anything to do with religion, or the Bible.
Well, and there's nothing godly about this organization, and Satan is an angel of light, and Satan's accomplished his goal in Watchtower. He accomplished it. It's John 10:10. I'm going to kill, destroy, and steal your life. And when people come out of this cult, that's exactly what's happened to each and every one of us. It takes a long time. It took me like 17 years to get my head on straight. It takes a long time in my case.
I'd like to ask a question to the audience.
Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
See if they know their rules.
Yeah.
So the Shepherd of the Flock of God book is a book of rules.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Right.
So here's an interesting question, and this is why I think it's wrong for them not to share this book with the audience, with the people that are in the Watchtower, because there's no what do you call that? Transparency.
Right.
So here's the question.
Okay.
An elder
Mm.
is looking at pornography.
Yeah.
Is that a disfellowshipable offense? Now, I'm going back 12 years ago.
Okay.
12 years ago, was it a disfellowshipable offense if an elder was looking at pornography? Does anybody want to answer that question?
It's not a trick question.
It's not a trick question.
No, it's not a trick question.
Joe, I'd like to comment on that if it's okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, honey.
Am I coming through? I don't know if my phone's working or not.
No, honey,
Yep.
we can hear
We
you
can
loud
hear
and
you.
clear. Go ahead, please. Mhm.
Oh, okay. My comment on that, should an elder be found guilty or disciplined or disfellowship for looking at pornography? Well, I'm gonna use the Bible to answer that. I can't recall the exact scripture and where it is,
Mhm.
but in the Bible it says that even I think it was Jesus that said it. He says even if you just have the thought in your mind about committing a sin, that you get guilty of that sin. Is that correct?
Yep. And Job even said that he would turn aside from looking at a woman improperly. But the question
Right.
is,
So
go ahead.
So should he be disfellowshipped for looking at pornography? Well, if he doesn't get disfellowship or get disciplined for looking at pornography, then they're saying that it's okay for the brothers in the congregation to do it. So if they don't disfellowship this guy or discipline him, then isn't that going against what the true teachings in the Bible tells us to do? Shouldn't they be following the principles in the Bible? And it's just not a personal decision. Well, it's okay. If you're sorry, we're gonna forget about it. I don't think that's actually the way that a congregation of people that's supposed to be elders who's supposed to be inspired by Holy Spirit, anointed by Holy Spirit to lead Jehovah's congregation.
Okay.
Then yes, he should be pulled aside. He should be pulled pulled down from being an elder. Don't you agree with that?
Okay, so the reason I asked that question, we had an elder that confessed to the body that he was looking at pornography.
Mhm.
So we opened, and now again, this was 12 years ago.
Okay.
They've had a lot of updates.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we open up the book,
Yep.
and it was considered uncleanness.
Right.
Now, uncleanness
Yeah.
is not a disfellowshipable offense. So what they would do, and this is how they dealt with it. I wanted to do this to show you how things work within the organization.
Right.
So two brothers later on met with that brother, an elder who had a problem with pornography.
Okay.
They asked him, "How long have you been viewing pornography?" And he had said 3 or 4 times. So they went back to the body. The body said, "We'll count it as uncleanness. He could still serve as an elder." Now, but they gave him an ultimatum. If he continued or if he promoted it, it would be loose conduct.
Oh.
Loose conduct is a disfellowshipable offense.
Hmm.
Now, keep in mind, this was 12 years ago.
Right.
That's why I say things change. The reason I brought that up is right before I was dismissed from the Watchtower, we had a special meeting with the circuit overseer, and he had a letter from the governing body, and there was so many problems with elders viewing pornography. I'm not making this up.
I'm not
There were
surprised.
so many problems with elders viewing pornography
Mhm.
that the circuit overseers within the branch, when they would visit a congregation, had to read the letter that if you viewed pornography, you would be removed immediately. So at one time it was just uncleanness,
Right,
and now you get removed.
right.
So does that make sense? I believe that was Stephanie.
No, it wasn't Stephanie, it was RJ. Someone-
RJ,
Yeah,
did that make
yeah,
sense?
or someone.
it does make sense, Joe. But a thought that came to my mind is that, you talking about this, that it was, you knew several elders who were looking at pornography. But if you think about this, man, this is kind of a maybe something that not many people really think about. But for someone to be a true blue Jehovah's Witness and to follow every direction of the governing body and to walk that straight line, to walk that high discipline, high control straight line, I really don't believe now in my life, looking back, when I was a Jehovah's Witness, I really don't believe that there were that most of the brothers and sisters in the congregation actually walked that straight line.
No.
Most of them, I believe, live double lives. Don't you agree with that?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
I'll share just two brief situations that I witnessed.
Mhm.
We had a break-in at a Kingdom Hall. This was in Kansas.
A break-in?
A break-in.
Wow.
They spray painted all over. I think it was an inside job.
Oh,
They broke the toilets, and
oh, wow.
so I was assigned to just help. I'm not a plumber. I don't know how to fix things, but I was assigned to help the presiding overseer as he was fixing the vanity.
Mm.
And an elder and his wife show up, and I'll never forget this.
Mm.
I'm not even a ministerial servant yet, but I'm reaching out, right?
Yeah.
And the elder and his wife show up, and they're talking to Frank Cross, who was under the vanity trying to fix the sink. And the elder picked up, and it's about this big, a pipe wrench. Now, I don't know what they do with pipe wrenches this big, but I'll tell you what
I've had one.
Bob Rogers did.
They're gigantic.
He grabbed it and he looked at me, and I'm like, no, don't do that. And he dropped it right on the manhood of Frank. And I'll never forget, he grabbed his manhood, got up, and they were about ready to fist fight. I got between these two men, and Bob Rogers' wife got between them because she didn't want her husband to get beat to death. And this was two elders. And, after that, they would never talk. Now, a lot of people would think, now, that can't be true. I'll give you another scenario. I was taking the car group out, and this shows, again, that there's a lot of double lives. We were around the ministry, and the sisters are talking about judicial stuff. And I'm trying to calm them down as I say, can you talk about something that's positive? And the presiding overseer's wife, who was in the back seat, she didn't go out and service a lot, but when she was in the back seat, said, I will tell you this. If I ever commit a gross sin, I will never tell the elders. And I'm an elder, and I'm driving, and I look back at her, and she said, never. I will never tell the elders because you can't trust them.
Oh.
That was the presiding overseer's wife.
And she knew the game, how it's played.
She knows
Joe.
the game.
Come on.
And so, you know what? Who asked this question? Because you were right. There's a lot of double lives.
Yeah, the last brother.
Very prevalent in the Watchtower, very prevalent in all congregations. You have these elderettes. When a brother has to leave on a Monday night to go to Kingdom Hall for a judicial meeting, with three other elders, right? He comes back and he says, oh, gee, hon, so-and-so was gambling and he doesn't have any rent money and we're going to have to do something about his gambling. He tells these wives, not all the time.
They're busybodies.
they explained to their wives, well, brother so-and-so had a problem, brother so-and-so. I had a phone call from an elder.
They shouldn't have known anything.
At the time, I was a ministerial servant.
Mhm.
He couldn't get another elder to go with him on a call.
Yeah.
What do you call it?
Shepherding call.
Shepherding call.
Right.
So, Brother Borgie, can you come with me? Sister so-and-so was called me. She's crying. She's got a big problem.
Yeah.
So I went over with him.
Yeah.
And she said, I found this in his shirt pocket.
Mm.
And I recognized it right away.
Mm.
It was a football card. It tells the different cities and the point spread. And so her husband had a problem gambling.
Okay.
And he didn't have the money, for the rent. And it was 3 months in arrears. He's trying to get a big win and pay it all back. And,
He's a baptized brother.
He's a baptized brother.
Okay.
All right. So I went because he couldn't go alone. And yet now I know stuff about him,
Right.
And I remember saying, well, I came home, so-and-so, brother so-and-so, he's got a gambling problem. And he had football cards, so I used to play them, so I recognized them. Then I realized, oh my God, I told my wife something that should have been confidential.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not an elder, but, these are elderettes, they know all, excuse me. I don't want to paint with a broad paintbrush.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there are elders, excuse me, that keep it to themselves. They don't tell their wives. But I'll bet you the majority do.
Well, and then for those that do, then the elderettes are talking to the other elderettes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like gossip is like wildfire.
The day
I hated that about the
the
organization.
night I got disfellowshipped, I knew it was coming.
Oh, yeah. Tell me
Yeah.
the story, Rich.
Yeah. So that they said, you're disfellowshipped, you committed adultery. Okay.
You're in the back
Right.
row.
I'm kind of tall. I'm a little over 6'3", and I always sat in the back to let people that were shorter see better. And it came the second part of the meeting. They have announcements.
Yeah.
Brother, come up and do an announcement. I knew they were going to announce Brother Borgie has been disfellowshipped.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in the back, and the two elders' wives that were in the committee. And they were just staring at me to see what my reaction
They're in the
would be.
front.
They're in the front.
Mhm.
They just about turned around in their seat and just started staring at me to see what my
Your
reaction
reaction.
would be.
So they knew.
Yeah, they knew.
And
They
they
knew.
wanted to see your reaction.
That was it.
There's nothing confidential in that organization. It's like Peyton Place, isn't it?
Mhm.
Everybody's talking about everybody's business.
Yeah.
Drove me nuts. I hated it. It's like, go get a life. When you're busy with your own life, you're not interested in everybody's business.
That's it.
You're just not. You got more important things.
They think
To
that if they tell another, I saw brother so-and-so coming out of an R-rated movie. Okay. They want the elder to know, I'm so righteous, I would never go to an R-rated movie. And I'm offended that this brother went to an R-rated movie. So I'm going to tell you. There's all this squealing going on
Acting self-righteous.
yeah.
Well, they're at home watching Netflix and it's R-rated, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just didn't get caught.
Well, there's a lot of hypocrisy.
There's a
I mean,
lot. There's so much.
they offered me the elder's position. I wasn't going to take it.
Good thing you didn't, Rich. I mean, you woke up before then when you saw what was going on.
Well, I was hiding adultery. So what am I do? Be on a judicial committee and disfellowship somebody for adultery when I myself was an adulterer?
Right. I didn't mean that, honey. What I meant was the time when your brother-in-law swindled $40,000 out of you, and you're talking to the circuit overseer, and you confronted him, and they kept you hanging for how long, Rich?
Well,
you confronted him, and he didn't like that.
Almost 2 years. 2 years.
You had 2 mortgages, 2 kids, and a wife. You're almost losing your house.
I'm losing my house, and he took the $40,000 he got to me to start a business and bought a house with it.
Right.
And then went bankrupt on me and said, "Too bad.
Yeah. Screw you.
Yeah, you have a good job, so
Right.
You'll be all right."
And the elders, the circuit overseer, with the circuit overseer when you finally confronted him.
I was supposed
Tell
to
what he said.
I was supposed to have a long sit down with him because I had waited almost 2 years to see this guy, right?
Nobody's paying your bills but you.
Right. And it's all the walking past me. Brother Borgia, I heard about your situation. Is all I can tell you is if you take your brother to court, you'll lose ministerial servant. And he walked away.
That was it.
Not,
See,
not
it's-
even 30 seconds.
Right. It's not even about, your family's welfare, any
Nope.
kind of compassion. It's all about what you can do to serve the organization.
Mhm.
And, he would have done you a favor, Rich. I mean, the writing's on the wall. You can really see that,
Mhm.
So when the time came that you committed adultery and you confessed to it, then it's like, okay, now we're going to really get
Now
you
we got
back.
him.
Now we got him.
Well, I gave the
Now we
circuit
got him.
overseer a hard time. He
Yeah.
wanted to fellowship people that were 50 pounds overweight.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know this in the audience.
Yeah.
I talk about it quite a bit.
Tell me again, honey.
Well, circuit overseer comes and I'm sitting in the back. I'm a ministerial servant. I've probably been a servant 7 or 8 years.
Yeah.
I didn't feel qualified for anything, but anyway, circuit overseer said the governing body wants to know how you brothers feel about disfellowshipping people that are obese.
Now it's a trial balloon.
Well, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But okay.
It's just a trial in your congregation.
See how they felt about it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reasoning was that smoking was injurious to your health, and being obese, which is 50 pounds overweight, is also injurious to your health. A smoking JW doesn't look good, and a fat JW doesn't look good.
Talking about the image.
All this concerned about one thing: image. That's the big important thing.
Yeah, but there are a lot of circuit overseers and elders and elderettes that were obese.
The circuit overseer that came had at least a 60-inch waistline.
There you go.
He absolutely did.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, they went. Please, I want to take. The governing body wants a servant body to take a vote.
Mm-hmm.
All those in favor of disfellowshipping, raise your hand. And almost 2/3 did.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. My wife gained a lot of weight, and I love my mother-in-law. I love my father-in-law.
And they were over 50 pounds.
Yeah,
each.
they were well, my mother-in-law was a 300-pound woman.
That's a big woman.
And there was no way
Yeah.
at age maybe 50 that you could get down to 150 pounds, which you weighed 300 and had 6 kids.
6 kids.
You know, I mean, it's impossible for her to do that.
So had that gone through, Rich, you would have lost your wife. She would have been disfellowshipped. And your 2 in-laws, her parents.
Yep.
So you spoke up.
Close the door. Come in. Come in.
I raised my hand and I said, wait a minute. Whatever happened? Why are we voting?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever happened to
Jehovah's Holy Spirit?
Jehovah's Holy Spirit telling the anointed at that time was 144,000. It wasn't the 11 bozos in Warwick.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time it was 144,000.
Mm-hmm.
In the 144,000, telling the governing body what Jehovah said. Whatever happened to that? Everybody looked at me like, what is?
Yeah, how dare you question me?
Yeah, so they didn't like that.
Yeah.
And then he said something. Well, we just want to find out. And I stood up. That wasn't really like me. I'd raised my hand, but I just stood up and I said, well, "This is like the brown shirts, the master race. This is Nazism. You know, trying to make everybody perfect, have the same kind of haircuts,
blonde hair, blue eyes,
same kind of suits, and
right? Aryan race.
They control everything.
Yeah.
You can't just take. My mother-in-law was a wonderful woman. Her name was Beverly McDonald. She's passed now 10 years ago, I think. There was no way that woman was going to get down to 150 pounds. It just wasn't going to happen.
Oh, plus she's postmenopausal too. I mean,
And she'd been in the Watchtower of 20, 30 years,
wow.
went out in service,
Raised all her
did
kids.
everything you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Then you said to her, well,
Watch
if you don't
out.
get down to 150 pounds, you're toasted Armageddon. The birds are going to be plucking your eyeballs out because you're going to be dead because you couldn't lose the weight.
Yeah.
That's how sick and demented the Watchtower is. We're running overtime again. We'll take one last comment from anybody. You want to ask Joe a question? I can't hear you.
Can I ask you another question, man, real quick?
Yeah, sure. Is this a show from the-
Okay, I'm the caller that was asking you the questions about, if you felt like you were a qualified elder. But my other question is, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but now that you have been out of, I think you're one of the ex-Jehovah's Witnesses that really had a lot of inside experience. You were not just someone sitting on the back row showing up at the Kingdom Hall on Sunday. So I would have to guess that the situation that you were in, as far as like an elder, ministerial servant, public speaker at the assemblies. Now that you're out of it, do you feel in a maybe not in a very potent way, but do you still feel that you're haunted by the doctrine of the Watchtower?
Yeah, I still have a lot of guilt. I still struggle with nightmares, Armageddon nightmares and Judicial Committee nightmares. I don't know how long I'll struggle with that, but I have a very low self-esteem. I'll tell you that. That's just part of, and I'm just one of thousands and thousands of ex-witnesses that struggle with the same thing. I'm sure Rick has talked to a lot of people that struggle with the same struggles I have.
Yeah, I can honestly say that it's not severe like it was when I first got out of the Watchtower, but I still carry some of the doctrine in me that I still kind of try to sort out. Now, I don't believe that the Watchtower is a true religion. It's obvious that they're not. But the brainwashing was so severe and deep that you really believed it, man. You thought that this was the meaning of life, and then to be able to walk away from that and to say, no, this is not the meaning of life, and then you're having to rebuild yourself emotionally and spiritually. That's really, really hard to do. So I can confess, and I still have. Sometimes I have dreams about it, but most of all is the struggle in my life to try to find the truth. I'm still kind of like looking for the truth, and I'm very cautious about what I believe in. So I just wanted to ask you about that. I was just curious to know how you felt about it. But thanks for taking my call, and
I appreciate it.
Speak to you again in the future.
Yeah, bro. Just let me comment on your comment, if I could. All these religions are man-made, and they're all flawed. They all have people that run up that are flawed. If you get down on your knees and you pray for the Holy Spirit, it'll come to you. It'll direct you. Don't go looking for men to solve your problems or to get you out of doctrinal nightmares that you might have, or the nightmare. I have nightmares of the Watchtower basically being disfellowshipped and looking down on my young son at the time, maybe 8 years old, and he's crying his eyes out. I have nightmares. I have guilt and nightmares about that. I do, but I'm free. I am free. And I'll just throw this out to the audience. Every single time I do a program on 6 screens, it's that PTSD that you get from being in the Watchtower is knocked down 1 degree, 2 degrees. I love being on 6 screens. And I would say to anybody, talk to Rick about having a program. It really works for me. And I'm sure it worked for you, but talk to Rick about having a program, because once you start shooting back at the Watchtower, because they shot at me, they took my family away, they destroyed my self-confidence, they made me put me on guilt trips. I was drinking. Watchtower mess you up really, really bad.
When he attempted suicide.
Yeah,
too.
I did that.
Mhm.
It'll mess you up. It'll mess you up at a long time. But once you start praying for Holy Spirit and come on 6 screens and verbalize what you went through, that's why we have 6. That's why Rick has 6 screens. That is why you can come on here and you can tell your story. And every single time you tell a story on 6 screens, that PTSD is taken down 1 notch. I mean, that's how it worked for me. I'm sure it worked that way for you.
Well, and I just need to say that, Jesus said, I came to set the captives free. So that includes Watchtower captives. Okay. So you get down on your hands and knees and you pray and you ask Jesus Christ to help you, to heal your soul, mind, spirit, and body. He will. And it's not searching for a religion for the truth. The truth is right there in the Bible, having a relationship with Jesus Christ. That's the answer.
Can I just add one last thing to end the program on a humorous note? I actually don't know why they picked me to be a ministerial servant. I wasn't qualified to be a servant. I wasn't qualified to be an elder. But I'm going to give you a scenario. Group of 4 elders. They want to pick who's qualified to be the next elder.
Yeah.
So the 4 group of elders decide, okay, we're going to test these 2 brothers to see which one's qualified. And so what they do, they're in the back room. They have a Barbie doll, a Bible, and a can of beer.
Oh, yeah.
And so the first brother comes in and they said, okay, we're considering you for extra privileges. You want to pick a couple items? And he picks the Bible. They said, okay, thank you for your time. Go ahead and leave the building. The next brother comes in and they said, we want you to pick a couple items. He picks the Barbie doll and he picks the beer. And he said, congratulations, brothers. Brother, you are now a ministerial servant. That's a joke.
Yeah.
You've probably heard it before.
That's cute. Okay, and I wrap it up.
All righty. Yeah, I guess we're running over time, about 15 minutes. So forgive us, Rick. All right, Rick, it's all yours.
Thank you,
Rick.
everyone. Thank you for listening, and we
Thank
love
you.
you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Well, very, very good. Thank you, Joe. Lots of people coming in tonight. Got a lot of people. Usually we do really good on a holiday weekend because, many witnesses, ex-witnesses, I should say, they can't just get that spirit. So we got a lot of people coming in tonight. So we want to thank all those people for listening in. Now, don't you guys leave us. We're going to JW World News. We do have a guest coming on. Chewy, if you're on there, hang on there with us. We'll get you on here shortly. Chewy is an ex-Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's an ex-Bethelite. So he's going to come on. He's going to share his story with us and let us know what it was like to be in Bethel back in the 1980s. He's got a lot to tell. Chewy is, he's a PMO. His wife is still an active Jehovah's Witness. You'll really enjoy listening to Chewy tonight. He'll be coming on right around 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. So we're looking forward to Chewy. And we got a lot to talk about tonight on JW World News. So thank you, Dick, Constance, and Joe. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. But stay with us now. We're going to JW World News. Don't go anywhere. I know that you'll really appreciate what we have to say here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.